What's up, guys? Happy weekend. This is yours truly, Empress Chassie Warrington, aka All That Chas, aka Lupus Slayer, coming to you guys to this what's this morning now, afternoon, almost afternoon. Um, to give you guys awareness about, since this is Autoimmune Diseases Awareness Month, I want to give you all some information about some autoimmune diseases. This morning, I'm so sorry. Allergies are like really just on another level. You see how swollen I am? I don't even care because I've been trying to do this in allergies every single day for the last what? This is day 9. Allergies have been flaring up, so it is what it is. We got the show got to keep going some kind of way. So today we're going to talk about multiple sclerosis (MS). Um, Multiple sclerosis (MS) is an autoimmune system. The immune system attacks nerve cells. Okay, causes symptoms that can include pain, blindness, weakness, poor coordination, and muscle spasms. Various medicines that suppress the immune system can be used to treat MS. Um, but it's not always guaranteed. Some people they can afford it more than other, like Montel Jordan. I mean, is it Montel Williams? It's Montel Williams. He's doing really well with his MS. He's because he can afford the treatments and stuff. But we're going to talk about some different ways of how you can learn about it, how you know you have it. With most autoimmune diseases, they seem to have a lot of the same common type of symptoms with body aches, cramps, soreness, weakness, being lethargic, loss of appetite, sleepiness, headaches, particularly migraines. So it could be, I told you all, allergies been bothering me. So MS, and like any other autoimmune disease, they can be flared. They can, they have a lot of the same symptoms. Excuse me, guys. Why? Why allergies? Why? Leave me alone. You've been bothering me for 7, 8, 9 days now. Damn. Let me be. I need to be in peace. Okay. This ain't gonna work. If this is gonna be clearing on like this is not gonna work. I might have to reschedule this video, this live, Facebook Live. Oh my gosh. Come on. Give me a break. Let me do this right quick. Sorry about that, y'all. Damn. Allergies. I told you all. It's been 9 days. I've been dealing with this for 9 consecutive days. Nothing is working. And no mist, no ferns, no sage, no filtering room, all of that stuff, nothing at all working. So medicines, Claritin, Zyrtec, nothing. Benadryl is the only thing that works, but Benadryl will put me asleep. And I just recently woke up maybe about a couple of hours ago. I'm not trying to go back to sleep right now, so I'm not going to take no Benadryl. I'm trying to stay up. Tired of sleeping. Okay, since I was so rudely interrupted by allergies, apologize for that, guys. But autoimmune diseases have a lot of the same symptoms, and so sometimes it's kind of hard um, to know, especially when it comes to multiple sclerosis, because it has a lot of symptoms of fibromyalgia, as some of the Crohn's disease, some of the same symptoms as lupus, and so a lot of times doctors, no matter how much of a specialist they are, sometimes they have to test you, and it gets, for sometimes a couple of years, a few years. Like for me, I didn't find out I had lupus until 3 years after, because it's one of those autoimmune diseases and mixed connective tissue diseases that has symptoms of a lot of other autoimmune diseases. So it was, to narrow it down and to verbatimly be able to say this is what it is. It took 3 years. Yeah, because I found out I found out April 15th, 2017. That's when it was confirmed that, I do have lupus, SLE, with mixed connective tissue disease. And that's why I was having a lot of the same symptoms as multiple sclerosis. I was having weakness, soreness, stiffness, joint pains, and all of that stuff, just like with MS, which is one of the things that they did test me for. They test me for several autoimmune diseases to single them out, because they have to do that. So they ruled that one out, and I'm so grateful to that. But I still don't like this one either. So, but I just count my blessings. All right. So some of the symptoms that you have is you have a lot of flu-like symptoms. You have headaches, as I was stating before. You have pain in your body. You have a low white blood cell count when you have multiple sclerosis. You have liver problems, seizures, feeling depressed, feeling a great sense of depression, and feeling kind of suicidal. So those are some things that comes along with symptoms of MS, multiple sclerosis. I thank you all so much for tuning in. For those who are watching, I'm so sorry that I'm not feeling up to par today, but it's really unfortunately, because of allergies. And I'm really trying to get this done, because I was supposed to be doing this like every other day, but due to allergies, I wasn't able to, be as aggressive as I wanted to be when it came to doing this autoimmune awareness. But okay, I get my references. These are three main sites actually that I use for my references. I always use Mayo Clinic, WebMD, and John Hopkins websites, because these particular websites actually provide so much detailed information about autoimmune diseases. A lot of people have them, but a lot of times they're not as aggressive. Like sickle cell, sickle cell is very aggressive, but you can have a trait that is strong enough for you to have received the treatments, or some treatments, as if you have sickle cell anemia full blown. But so it all depends. That's why I for me, I've never been afraid to go to the doctor anyway beforehand. But it's like when I go to the doctor, it's like just I've been having issues battling chronic illnesses and diseases. I found myself not wanting to go to the doctor, because I already know 9 times out of 10 it's going to be bad news. It's sad to say that, but that's just the reality of battling any type of autoimmune diseases. You don't go to the doctor and get good reports most times. You really don't. You get reports that says, oh, your condition has worsened, or it's more aggressive, or it's the same. Rarely do you get a report, oh, you're making improvement, you're doing better. So a lot of people just don't like going to the doctor, because it's like, I don't want to spend money and sit and wait for the doctor to tell me that there's nothing else that can be done. Whatever. I already know that. You could just send me an email or something. Shoot me an email and let me know that. I didn't have to come into the office where you tell me that. But multiple sclerosis, the different treatments for it consists of anything from physical therapy, because you do have to stretch. You have to do a lot of stretching with any even if you don't have any kind of autoimmune disease, it's just good to stretch your joints. Stretch. You can stretch sitting down watching TV. You can stretch. There's always opportunity for you stretching. We stretch all the time. I'm always stretching, stretching, stretching. But I have to be careful with that because, unfortunately, autoimmune diseases can cause other issues, health issues, other health conditions that can be dangerous. And so stretching may not be a big deal to some people, but when you have autoimmune diseases, it can, because one of the things that multiple sclerosis also does and can cause is a condition that's called vasovagal syncope, which is a condition that I have from the result of having an autoimmune disease, lupus. What vasovagal syncope, I talked about this earlier, but the reason I'm bringing this up because I want you all to understand the seriousness of multiple sclerosis and autoimmune diseases. That this particular condition, if you're stretching, doing basic things that you do regularly, stretching, yarning, going to the bathroom, you know how you walk and then you turn the corner in your home or something. If you squat down, something drop, then you squat down, you pick it up, stoop down, whatever. Those things can trigger vasovagal syncope. And with the vasovagal syncope, what it does, it causes you to pass out. It normally be like you pass out for 3 to 5 seconds and then you come back, sometimes 10 seconds. And then the thing about it is it can continue on for minutes or even hours. Like, say, for instance, you pass out for 5 seconds. 6 minutes, 10 minutes could go by and it can happen again. And it can continue to happen like that up to an hour. I never had it to happen longer than 2 hours. But I have gone through fainting spells because of vasovagal syncope for a couple of hours, because that is one of the conditions that most autoimmune diseases actually create, and multiple sclerosis is one of those it's one of those autoimmune diseases that also have a condition of vasovagal syncope as well. So that's where the weakness come into, the lethargicness, and when you're just doing simple daily things, how you can just feel like you been trying, like you ran a marathon for a whole year. Imagine that. Not sleeping, not resting for an entire year. You can even imagine that. So that's the toll that it takes on your body. But a lot of people are not aware of that. So, it's kind of like walking in the dark. But you definitely want to make sure that you go to the doctor. Don't be afraid if you notice things are not normal. This young guy, he's in one of the support groups that I'm in for chronic illnesses and diseases. And he's, healthy guy, worked out. He was playing football, college football and everything. He's doing good, right? And all of a sudden, one day during practice, he started feeling really weird, and he got really nauseated and real dizzy at the same time. So he goes and he's, sits on the bench a little bit. He just thinking like maybe he got a little dehydrated or maybe he overexerted himself because it was during exams. And, when it's exam time, students, college students especially, can overexert themselves, especially when they play sports. So he didn't know that what he was dealing with was going to lead to something worse. Came to find out the young man, unfortunately, had multiple sclerosis, and he had no idea that he had multiple sclerosis. But, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter about your age. It doesn't matter about your money, your ethnicity. It doesn't matter. You could get it. You could get multiple sclerosis. You could get any other autoimmune disease that's out here. And so if you noticing different things, and this is the tricky part, when you get past, when you're like 30, especially when you're like 35 or older, and you start having things, it's easy for us to be like, okay, it's just because of age. Things happen as you get older. Your joints might get a little stiffer. You might start having other issues and stuff. So, you know, a lot of times in our mind, we're not thinking that it's something more than what it is. You know, we're just thinking, you know, it just, we need to exercise more, maybe need to change up the way we're eating a little bit or something of that nature. And all of that is good and fine. But what we oftentimes never think is that it could be something more serious than that. Because to be honest, I know for me, the last thing I do is sit around and think about, ooh, I wonder if I could have some kind of disease or something. Oh, do I have an infection? Don't nobody sit around and think about that, you know, on a regular basis. That those things don't even come across your mind most times. If you know, especially if you say, for instance, if you find yourself coughing more or whatever, you probably just take it off. Okay, maybe it's just cold, or maybe just allergies, maybe it's too dusty. But the last thing you will think in your mind is, oh, I must have some kind of autoimmune disease. Oh, let me go to the doctor. You know, and it's nothing, and so it's not anything bad, but it's just we don't dwell on negative stuff like that. We don't dwell on, you know, the ifs and was it to be something more than just a cough or just a common cold or just allergies or something if we experience certain issues. Now, I will say, I know for me, I try to keep an environment in my home that will accommodate my conditions because, excuse me, when you start having autoimmune diseases and you battling them, it's really good to try to keep your home environment, especially because that's something you can really control more than anything. Keep it sanitized, keep it clean, keep it oxidated, you know, with oxygen, with plants that produces oxygen in your home, with plants and try to eliminate a lot of AC if possible. I know when it gets really hot, especially living in hot climates, you know, it's kind of like you're kind of forced to use the AC. So if that's so, then have air filter machines in your homes, you know, so that it can filter out all of the dust bunnies that's going to be filtering out of your vents. Because as microscopic as these germs or these bacteria are and particles are, they build up in us in massive ways. That's why we have mucus. Mucus isn't just from eating dairy, you know, like cheese and drinking milk and stuff. It's not only caused by dairy, it's also caused by a lot of the microorganisms that we cannot physically see with our naked eyes. So those things build up in our bodies and in our system, and that's why we get respiratory issues. Sometimes we can, like for me, I have asthma. I don't know if you all can hear it now, but because allergies flare up, so will asthma. When asthma flare up, not to say allergies flare up, but definitely for me, when allergies flare up, it provokes the asthma. And so that's why you hear me wheezing and stuff. So excuse that. I got my pump right here, so I get it if I have to before it gets too bad. But yeah, so with MS, I'm going to give you all more information about multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis can paralyze you. It can cause you to have memory loss. It can, because it messes with your neurological system, you know, the way you function, the way you do things. It weakens your muscles, muscle tissue. It weakens your nerve cells. It weakens your blood cells. It can cause a lot of those type issues and problems. So you want to make sure that you be very vigilant about your health. Take care of your health. I keep explaining, you know, this is the thing. Our bodies is the most precious commodities that we have in our life. If you are sick, if your body shuts down, if your body breaks down, you cannot go out here and work. You can't, like you want to. You can't go and pursue your dreams. And depending on how bad the condition is, you're pretty much become totally dependent on other people. You're no longer independent. You're no longer self-sufficient. You have to always rely on other people, resources, and that is a very miserable position to be in. And it's hard to be in that position too because we have a government that doesn't like to help people. They try to find ways not to help you, like, say, for instance, disability. And I have to say this because this is something I experienced with disability. Anybody knows when you're going through disability, you haven't been approved yet, you cannot work. They tell you, your attorney will even tell you, even on the website for HHS .gov and NIH.gov, they tell you not you can't work. But guess what? If you don't work, or if you're not already on disability, you cannot get any public assistance because you're in that middle ground. You don't have work and you're not on disability yet. So if you're going through that process, you're not going to get no help. So this is something that happens. So that's why I'm telling you to take care of your dang on freaking health, so you won't find yourself in dealing with those kind of situations. Because even before I knew all of this was going to be going on, I was already advocating for those with for chronic illnesses, diseases, and disabilities, never knowing that I would find myself in a position where I would actually become one of these victims and individuals who is going to be dealing with these type of situations and issues myself personally. And I'm going to tell you, the government do not help me at all. I get zero public assistance. I do not get EBT food, SNAP. I don't have Medicaid or Medicare. I don't get any of that. You know why? Because I'm in the middle of I'm in that middle ground where I don't work because of my health, where I don't work a common job, like I don't clock in and punch in on somebody's time clock. So they consider, if I do something independently, they don't consider that to be my work, even if I have my EIN. But then on the flip side of that, they'll turn around and say, oh, well, you are working. You are capable of working. I'm able to work independently on my own because I can control the time that I work and I can control how far I go. If I'm out and about and I'm on somebody else's time, if I pass out on these people's job, if I, have a bad flare up on these people's job, do you think I'm going to have that job long? No, because I'm a high liability. And they do ask, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know any job. I worked as a human resource manager. I've worked as a secretary in a civil law attorney. They always ask you, do you have any conditions that will prevent you from doing your job properly? And if you click yes, guess what? You're not going to be able to get that job. So these are the stumbling blocks that they have. So that's why I try to encourage people to go to the doctor. Don't be scared, because if you don't catch the conditions or catch whatever it is that's going on with you early enough where it's treatable, depending on what it is. Some conditions are just not treatable. They're not manageable, no matter if you try to be on medications. Some medications, even with multiple sclerosis, sometimes it takes a few years for it to finally build up in your system and to start taking effect. So you're still going to be waiting 3 to 4 years just to even try to get help. Even when you go get your infusions and you go and get certain medications done and procedures done, you will still find yourself struggling and battling. So you don't want to find yourself in those kind of vulnerable positions and helpless positions. So that's why I always try to encourage people, go to the doctor. Well, you know your body. We know our bodies. Even if we're not medical professionals, we may not know the proper terminology and everything, but what we do know indefinitely is that something is not right within our bodies. And we know that something is going on in our bodies that should not be going on. So with multiple sclerosis, which affects you would be surprised the number of people it affects, over 2 million people worldwide. Multiple sclerosis is a very aggressive autoimmune disease that attacks the muscle and the joint and your nervous system and your white blood cells. It can cause bone deterioration, muscle deterioration. It can break you down, make you weak, cause you to have spasms. It can cause you to pass out, be very sensitive to weather conditions. It can cause you to have fainting spells. It can cause you to have memory lapses. Like you could be and this is true. And I, like I told, a lot of autoimmune diseases have a lot of the same symptoms, because I know with me, with the autoimmune disease that I battle, I have memory lapses, I have memory issues, I have cognitive issues, and I'm just going to be honest about it. No need to be lying about it. I can be very proficient and very sharp and poised and on point one day or at one moment, and then 10 minutes later it'll be like do what else do what I do. I forget, and I have issues pronunciating words. I will forget how to spell a word, simple words. And I'm not talking about complicated words, with the extended vocabulary words. No, I'm talking about simple words like dog, simple words like advice, simple words like make, match, just simple stuff, you can forget it. So these are things that happens when you have autoimmune diseases, and as we get older, our body becomes more delicate and frail anyway. So it's definitely very crucial and very important for us to definitely start changing our eating habits. If you are the type person that loves a lot of condiments and sauces, I'm doing this month, I did a raw food regimen for the whole month of March. I'm going to do it again next month, and probably for the next 2 months, I think I'm gonna do it this, so I can actually show you all videos and ingredients and recipes, share recipes with you all on how you all can start weaning yourself off of condiments and sugars and stuff. It's been, let me see, I haven't had any kind of artificial juices or anything like for about 2 months now. Everything that I've had I haven't had any kind of sweetened teas at all. Everything that I've been drinking has just been water or absolutely natural. No sugars, artificial sugars or cane sugars or anything. Hey guys, look. He wants attention. Hey, poo-poo. So, there's a lot of things that you can start weaning yourself off of, or substitute or improvise on as you get older, because I'm telling you, as we get older, our body does change significantly, and we'd be surprised the changes that our body makes. And the thing about it, we have the signs and the red flags, but we like to ignore things because, again, we don't never think that it's something more than what it is. We just thinking like, oh well, it's just my old age, or I'm just tired, or I just I had a long day today, or I've been putting in a lot of hours this week, I've been doing a lot of studying, or the children or the family. It's easy for us to dismiss it as those things, because those are common things that most people do, and they can make your body tired. It can cause you to feel weak and despondent or detached, so we don't really understand that it could be something more serious. And a lot of times we're not going to go to the doctor to get a physical or to get certain tests done or anything. So that's just something in general that we should do as we get older. We want to reduce stuff, especially if you're a fried food person. Some people they say they just got to have something fried. If it's because of the crunch and that flavor that you like from the fried food, you can improvise. You can start with oven fried foods and stuff. I'm telling you, it tastes good. You're not going to be deprived. And I think when people feel like they're going to be deprived of something good, they don't want to deal with it. They don't want any part of it if they feel like they're going to be deprived of something good. But don't think of it as being deprived. Look at it as you investing in your health and investing in the prolong of your health and the prolong of your future, because the longer you live, then the more you can get accomplished. Look at it. He ready to get down, y'all. He having a hissy. You going to have a hissy? Go ahead. Jump some more. Go ahead. Go ahead. You finish all that bucking and jerking and carrying on. But here are some other symptoms of multiple sclerosis is numbness or weakness in one or more limbs that typically occur on one side of your body at a time, or the leg, or the trunk of your leg. Electroshock sensations that occur with certain neck movements, especially bending the neck forward, um, um, tremor, lack of coordination, or unsteady gait. Now, then the vision problems that are also common with having multiple sclerosis can include partial or complete loss of vision, usually in one eye at a time, often with pain during eye movement, prolonged double vision, blurry vision. Multiple sclerosis symptoms may also include slurred speech, fatigue, dizziness, tingling, or pain in parts of your body, problems with sexual, bowel, and bladder functioning. When to see a doctor? Is to see a doctor if you experience any of the symptoms for unknown reasons. Like if you don't already have diagnosis, so even if you do have a diagnosis, because you can have multiple autoimmune diseases at a time, as I have them. I have multiple ones, so it's possible to have it. This says the disease course. Most people with MS have a relapsing, remitting disease course. They experience periods of new symptoms and relapse that develop over days or weeks and usually improve partially or completely. These relapses are followed by quiet periods of disease remission that can last months or even years. Small increases in body temperature can temporarily worsen signs and symptoms. That's what I was telling you about the hot and cold, how your body can start having strange reaction to the weather conditions, or the temperatures in the temperature in a building or in a home or outside or whatever. It says, but these aren't considered disease relapses. About 60 to 70% of people with relapsing, remitting MS eventually develop a steady progression of symptoms with or without periods of remission, known as secondary progressive MS, multiple sclerosis. The worsening of symptoms usually includes problem with mobility and gait. The rate of disease progression varies greatly among people with secondary progressive MS. People with MS experience a gradual onset of steady progression of signs and symptoms without any relapses. This is known as primary progressive MS. So this is just to go again to solidify what I was saying earlier, that when you get chronic diseases and illnesses, symptoms can actually get worse over a period of time. And that is why just because you don't feel something right then and there doesn't mean that there's not something going on. Or if it comes and then it goes away, because remember it was saying that you may have these symptoms for a period of time, then it can stop for days, for weeks, or even longer than that. And then all of a sudden, out the blue, they'll come back and they'll become very aggressive. They'll become more, more forceful. So that's how chronic diseases are. Chronic autoimmune diseases are, or autoimmune diseases, period. They have the tendency to do that because, like I went almost an entire year, I didn't have no flare up. I didn't have no nothing. And I was just like, oh, okay. And I was taking medications, getting treatments at the time. So I'm, in my mind, of course, I'm like, shoot, girlfriend back. I'm doing good. I can get back to what I was doing. Hey. I don't know if I don't do those things no more. But anyway, no matter what. But still, It was just the fact that I was, I was like I'm 8 months in, and I haven't had a flare up. I haven't had a nosebleed. I haven't had no regurgitation. I haven't had no collapsing. I haven't been dizzy. I haven't had any of those symptoms. Nothing. Just like my normal self. Just I went back into the gym and stuff. I'm all on the treadmill, and I got videos of it too. I'm all on the treadmill, all happy and stuff, and whoo, whoo, whoo. I'm happy. I'm doing good, right? Guess what happened in the 9th month? A sister got put on her back. Yes. Guess what? Lupus like, oh, hell to the no, 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 no. The autoimmune disease like, oh, hell no to the no, no, no. Girl. Next thing you know, I was in my bed for 2 straight consecutive months. When I say in my bed, I mean in my bed. The only time I could get up is to go to the bathroom, but even then I had to have help going to the bathroom. I could not cook nothing for myself. I couldn't go and do anything for myself. I even dressing myself, I couldn't do anything because I think, I did. I had to go to the doctor during that time. I had to go because to the ER. I was so sick that ambulance had to come pick me up because I could not make it. I couldn't make it to the front of my place. I was just that weak. That's how autoimmune diseases work. You can be doing good for a hot little minute, and then it'll lay you on your back. So that's what I'm telling you. If you start experiencing symptoms that is not normal stuff that you're used to, and you know that you need to be like, wait a minute, and then it goes away, and then say for instance, come back one day, and you start back, you be like, dang, this happened like 2 months ago. Well, last time this happened was 6 months ago. Then it started coming back, and then you noticing it's starting to come back more frequent. Like it started the 6 months, gap. It's like every 4 months, or now it's every 3 months. Now it's every 2 months. Now it's every month, and before you know it, it'll be every week and then every day. So don't play with your health. All right, causes of multiple sclerosis. It's unknown. It's really unknown. Still, all of these years, they don't know what causes it. So that's just pretty much it in a nutshell. But it does says it's considered an autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system attacks its own tissues. All autoimmune diseases attack its own tissue. But the problem is, it's not that it attacks the unhealthy tissues. It attacks the healthy tissues in the body, and they become bad. And then that's why it progresses, and that's why it gets worse, and that's why you have to have treatments, and that's why you have to continue on going back through these things over and over and over again. It's like a never-ending story, for real, like literally. So, but it attacks its own tissue. In the case of MS, multiple sclerosis, the immune system malfunction destroys the fatty substance that coats and protects nerve fibers in the brain and spinal cord. The myelin, that is dangerous. That means you're literally, that's why you become limp. The myelin, that's what it's called. Did I say myelin? Myelin can be compared to the installation coating on electric wires, like the wire coat to protect the wires. That's what the myelin is, as an example. When the protective myelin is damaged and nerve fibers are exposed, the message that travels along the nerve may be slowed or blocked. The nerve may also become damaged itself. It isn't clear why MS develops in some people and not others. A combination of genetics and environmental factors appears to be responsible. Risk factors of multiple sclerosis. Why can you say muscular? Multiple sclerosis. Ugh. These factors may increase your risk of developing multiple sclerosis. Age. MS can occur at any age, but usually affects people somewhere between the ages of 16 to 55. So this will say, because you're young, don't mean that you can't get it like that college student. He had no idea he had multiple sclerosis, and he was like 20, just turned 20, and he had multiple sclerosis, and he actually was um had been looked at by the NFL and everything. So it's just like that really just killed his dream of going pro. So anything can happen. Sex, women are more than 2 to 3 times as likely as men to have relapsing remitting MS. And that's because of the hormones in our bodies, and we carry life, and we have different sets of organisms in us as than men. You know, we have men have testosterones, we have testosterones. P with the testosterone. So it's a difference. Family history can be genetic. Certain infections, including the Epstein-Barr, the virus which causes infection. Um, that's just mononucleases. So yeah, mononucleases. That that causes it. It can be caused of those kind of infections. Race, white people, particularly those of Northern European descent, are the highest risk of developing MS. People of Asian, African, and Native American descendant have a low risk, but we can still get it. And then let me tell you, if you have real good doctors, I'm so grateful for my team of doctors. When my neurologist, Dr. Ray, David Ray, I'm going to say his name because I love Dr. David Ray. If you're in Atlanta and you need a good neurologist, look up Dr. David Ray. David Rye, I'm sorry, Ray. Rye, R-E-Y, Dr. Rye. Dr. Rye looked at my lab work. He looked at my history. He didn't just try to rush through. He took his time. He works with Emory Medical. So he just took his time. And he just looked at me. Well, I saw the expression on his face. And he looked at me. He's like, who's British in your family? And he could tell just by the way some of the antibodies in my body and certain of my lab results in my blood lab works that I had British in my bloodline. He's like, who's British in your family? I never told this man this. My great granddad on my father's side is British, okay? He's British Haitian, So it's like, I didn't tell this man this, but he knew just by looking at my blood work and my labs and my tests and my antibodies and all of these things. He was able to connect those dots. So you want to make sure that when you go, you got to get really sharp doctors like that, because I'm telling you, they were even sharp PCP, rheumatologists, all of my doctors. I'm so grateful for all of them. My gastrologists, my podiatrists, my obstetricians, my oncologist, however you pronounce that word, my of course my PCP, my rheumatologist. I say that I have a really great team of doctors who do not try to just medicate you. What they do is they actually examine your history. They try to get as much of your history, medical records as possible, even if it's not from you, even from your parents. If you know any family history of having medical conditions or whatever, they always try to look into that first before they try to just medicate you. They don't want to just fill you with medicine. And I appreciate that about my doctors. And thanks to everybody who is watching and tuning in. I can't see, for some reason, I cannot see any comments. I can't see if anybody is posting anything or making any comments. I can't see it. I don't know if it's because I have my phone on the wide lens, so I can't see anything. But even sometimes when I don't, I still can't see. So I don't know, maybe it's just my device, or maybe it's Facebook, or a combination, but I can't see if anybody is commenting or anything. So please forgive me if I'm not responding back to you. It's not intentionally. I really can't see anybody responding. Okay, climate. MS is far more common in countries where temperatures climax, including Canada, the northern United States, New Zealand, New Eastern Australia, and Europe. So cold weather, in other words. Vitamin D deficiency, um, and low exposure to solar light associated with greater risk of MS, just like with any other chronic illnesses, diseases. That's the same thing with any other. I'm telling you, they have a lot in common. Most autoimmune diseases have a lot of the same common symptoms and risk factors and etc. Certain autoimmune diseases can actually cause MS. Remember, I was saying that earlier that you can have a chronic illness that can provoke other illnesses. True. This is confirmation. You have a slightly higher risk of developing MS if you have um, thyroid disease, type 1 diabetes, or inflammatory bowel disease. I talked about inflammatory bowel disease in my last video about autoimmune diseases. So I'm going to recap on that, but I'm going to try to make sure that I be more aggressive because it's the 14th and I think there's like 7 more that I need to cover. So I'm going to try to go over all of these before the month is over with. Smokers who excuse me, experience an initial event of symptoms may signal MS, or more than likely than non-smokers to develop second event that confirms relapsing, remitting MS. Complications with multiple sclerosis can include muscle stiffness and spasms. I said that earlier. Uh, Paralysis, typically in the leg. I have that, even though I don't have multiple sclerosis, I get it from lupus. Problems with bladder, bowel, or sexual dysfunctioning. Well, I'm celibate, so I ain't be doing it. Mental challenges, cognitive issues, same thing with lupus, such as forgetfulness or mood swings, depression, epilepsy. I have epilepsy, have mood swings, I have all of that. And again, this just goes to show how mostly every autoimmune disease out there kind of have that same pattern, have a lot of the same symptoms, have a lot of the same risk factors. Some are just more aggressive than others. Some have more serious side effects or cause more issues than the other. Hey, how are you, Vicky? How are you, my love? It's good to see you. Thank you. I can actually see your comments, so that's good because I was concerned. I didn't think I could see anybody's coming because I saw people watching, viewing, but I couldn't see if anybody was coming. So thank you for sending me a hello so I can see. But that's pretty much with multiple sclerosis. So I would just strongly encourage anybody to go out and, just get yourself checked. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of times when you go to the doctors, if you don't specify specific concerns, your doctors a lot of times are not going to look for that. They would normally just look for the basic things in your blood work, like high blood pressure, thyroid issues, if you have any kind of blood clots. They look for just the basic issues like that. But if you explain to them, look, I've been having weird headaches lately. I've been sleepless, restless. I've been, my legs are moving and uncontrollably in my sleep. Or, you have to specify certain things to them, because if you don't, then they're not going to know to try to start testing you or send you to specialists who can test you to see if you're having any kind of issue, because a lot of people are walking around sick with autoimmune diseases and they don't know that they have autoimmune diseases, and they're just trying to treat it with over-the-counter medications. Okay, I'm in pain today. Okay, I just take some Excedrin, or I just take some Benadryl, or and they're walking around sick, and then before you know it, and I'm gonna tell you what autoimmune diseases typically and mostly always kill a person in their sleep. And that's scary. That's scary for me, having autoimmune diseases and mixed connective tissue disease, especially knowing that there are people that I know personally that died like that. from having autoimmune diseases is they pass away in their sleep. So it's a silent killer is what I like to call it, because you don't you don't feel it when it happens in your sleep. Most people who they go peacefully, like there's no strain. Sometimes a person can have an aneurysm or a heart attack in their sleep, but because their body is so shut down, they don't even feel it. So they're not going to experience any pain. They're not going to have anything that's going to alert them to make them wake up, to wake them up. They're not going to have any of that. So I'm just strongly advising anybody who may be experiencing anything out of the norm, or if there's a family history, especially with your biological parents and your grandparents, biological grandparents, great grandparents, if there's a history in the family of autoimmune diseases, it's best to go get yourself checked. If you have children, just get them checked just to make sure, because it's best to be safe than sorry. It's like, oh, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Or you go look for trouble, you'll find it. No, don't see it that way, because if you don't go look to see if there's going to be any trouble, then you're going to wish you would have found it before it got too bad. So just be very vigilant about your health. I'm encouraging everyone, and I convey this to you. Your body is the most precious commodity, the most precious treasure that you can have. Without your body, without your strength, without your health, without your cognitive abilities, you are not going to be equipped to manage life independently in a productive life. You would have a life, especially if you don't have a strong support system, because a lot of people cannot deal with people with chronic illnesses. A lot of spouses alike, and I have said this in previous videos, and I just say this just not bitter or lingering on it, but I was in a 5-year relationship, and my relationship that out of 5 years ended once I became sick, because it is a lot to deal with, because people don't understand that you cannot control what's going on in your body. You can make plans to do things all you want, but if your body decides to shut down on you before you go out the door, then it shuts down on you. There's been plenty of times I've taken a shower, I've gotten dressed and everything, and I pace myself, because with autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis, you can start preparing yourself to get up and to get dressed 3-4 hours prior to, because it takes your body so long to just wake up at times, depending on how aggressive the autoimmune disease is in your body. So there's been plenty of times, by the time I got dressed, took my shower, got dressed, and was ready to go, and this is even just going to my doctor's appointments, my body was completely shut down, and I had to lay down. By the time I reached through the front door, I had to lay on the couch, because the living room was right there, so I had to immediately lay down on the couch. There's been times I didn't even get a chance to make it to the couch. I was right in the hallway, and my son had to physically pick me up and put me on the couch, because my body just shut down. So that's what happens when you have autoimmune diseases. So I'm just letting you all know, and mine came after a car accident. I started having all these aggressive flare-ups after the car accident, and how multiple sclerosis affects your nerves, how it can affect your nerve system. Well, when you're in a car accident, it can affect your nerve system, and it's like once my nerve system got damaged, that's when I started having the flare-ups, and that's where lupus came about, in all of the other things that accumulate and occurs as a result of having lupus, SLE with mixed connective tissue disease. So I'm just letting you all know this from experience, what I've gone through myself and what I am going through. I'm still dealing with this every single day. If you feel like something is not right in your body, do not put it off, especially men. Men, y'all are so damn stubborn. Y'all do not like going to no freaking doctor, especially if it's a male doctor. Because I know male doctor touching on me, especially those who are homophobic, very homophobic, thinking because you're seeing a male doctor that you're gay. No, but I'm just saying, take your behinds to the doctor, because even though majority of people who get chronic illnesses and diseases, autoimmune diseases, are women. A lot of men get them too. A lot of men do and can get them, and most times when men get them, men die much faster than women do when they get them, because of, again, the testosterone in men's body is not same as the testosterone in our body as women. So it's a difference. So I'm just letting you know, take your asses to the doctor, start changing up your diets, reduce your sugars, reduce your sodium. Do not use that synthetic sugars. Do not use any kind of sweet low or none of that Splenda. That stuff will kill you. They don't tell you that. It also can cause cancer, and it can cause diseases and stuff in certain people's bodies. And again, if you don't know your genetics and you don't know the history of your your medical history of your genetics, then you put yourself at a higher risk when you taking stuff like that. Don't be using any of that synthetic stuff. Reduce your intake of foods, of processed foods. Start making fresh food. And you be like, oh, I don't know how to cook and this, that, and the other. Look, if you really want to learn how to do it, you'll learn how to do it, or you get somebody to do it for you. I'm quite sure there's family members, there's loved ones, someone that will be glad to come and cook those things for you. But you want to start changing the way you eat and stay off greasy foods. Try to reduce your intake of dairy for those who love dairy. One of my main weaknesses is cheese pizza. Me can literally eat cheese pizza every single day. We love cheese pizza, but I cannot eat it because I know on a regular basis I eat it every blue moon. I think the last time I had cheese pizza was last year, and I think it was probably, was it September? Wait a minute. I can't even remember. It's so long, but it was last year. I know it was like towards, it had to be in between September and December. But I haven't had any cheese pizza since then. And when I did have it, it was a small slice. But, I had to start changing up my diet even the more, even though I eat pretty much naturally and healthy anyway, I still had to do more. So I'm a complete vegetarian now too, as well. I've been doing that since last year. So it's like I don't have no turkey. I don't have lean meats or anything. So it's a lot of stuff that you have to start changing up. And again, it's based on your body, your health, and your preference. But you do want to make sure that you reduce the intake of certain stuff. Sodas, if you're a soda-holic, if you like Kool-Aid, you like juices in the stores, you got to stop doing it. You have to stop doing that, because it's going to create problems, especially if you already start getting headaches all the time. If you start finding yourself, if you go work, or and you're, see, this is the thing, we don't understand the stress that our body goes under. And remember, all of our weight goes on our feet as well. All of the weight that we have is on our feet. So if you have a job where you're on your feet a lot, or on majority of the time, you putting a lot of stress on your body. And a lot of times we don't realize how much stress we're putting on our bodies until we get older and we start having issues and stuff. So, just reduce what start taking more precautions to what you're putting in your body. Exercise. You don't have to do strenuous exercise. You can do simple things like stretches, jumping jacks, leg lunges. You can do those things in your home. You can take a nice little walk in the park or up the block, depending on where you live at and stuff. You live in one of those neighborhoods where you can't take no walk, do stuff inside your place, or go to a park, or go to a part of the city or the area where you can take a walk and don't have to worry about nobody messing with you like that, But there's things that we can do and start doing to improve our health and to provide longevity in our health in a healthy way. Because, what's the point of having longevity health if you're suffering every single day in your body because you're so greatly ill and so sick? Who wants to be gravely ill all the time and be sick like that all the time and can't even enjoy the moments of life? But I live longer. I'm living longer, but you're not making any. You're miserable. It's like you're literally suffering to death, and nobody wants to suffer to death. I know I don't. So just start doing that. Start changing up diets with your children. Start introducing your children to stuff too. I can show you how to make, even though I don't eat meat, I can show you how to make really good chicken nuggets, oven baked, oven fried chicken nuggets. You know, it's a lot of stuff that you could do. You don't have to always um, fry foods in grease and stuff. But anyway, y'all get it. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please be safe, be careful, be vigilant. I know people are going crazy because of this coronavirus and stuff that's been spreading in stores getting bought out, everybody buying out stuff. But so just be proactive, be vigilant, be very watchful. Make sure nobody's sitting out there trying to, you know, make you one of their victims, because again, there's people who can't go out and afford to buy stuff in bulk, so they're looking for those who do have it and trying to be opportunists and take from others. So just be very careful when you're out there and about, okay? But enjoy your life. Don't let it suppress you. Still enjoy your life. All right, you guys take care. God bless, one love, peace. Oh, and make sure you sign my petition for chronic illnesses and diseases. I want to put the link in this video. So please go there. It only takes like 10 seconds. You don't have to create an account. You don't have to make a donation. All you have to do is just put your email, your name, your government name now. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And it only takes like about 10 seconds, 20 seconds at the most, depending on your internet speed to do it. Okay? Thank you again. Take care. Bye.